They sent the message to the world: you rebel, don't comply, disagree with us, we'll kill you. The powers that be, they exposed themselves on that day. Attica makes no sense, absolutely, in isolation from its social and historical context that was taking place at the time. We're talking about Attica comes in the context of the ending of the civil rights movement, the Black Power movement, targeted by COINTELPRO, and their leaders being brought down. And it was generally a period of pushback by the establishment. And in the prisons all across America, because of this pushback, the prisons were being filled with people that were involved in the movements.
At Attica, there was a political group of people. And they were members of the Young Lords Party, they were members of the Black Panther Party.
The BLA, the Weathermen, the Students for a Democratic Society, all kinds of activity, the anti-Vietnam War.
There was a huge Nation of Islam contingent.
So in Attica, you had a perfect storm of, of people engaged in challenging the system, and from the streets, from the jails, and from the prisons. And they seemed to be directing them all to one place, and it was Attica.
The conditions were horrific. The temperature sometimes got to be 119 degrees. People made 56 cents a day. They were allowed one shower every 2 weeks. They were allowed one roll of toilet paper. They had no right to read what they wanted to read. There was no due process in the parole process. There were these two doctors, Sternberg and Williams, and they were incredibly vicious, incredibly racist, and hideously incompetent. And so the medical care was beyond horrifying. To go into these guys was awful.
I went to Attica in 1966 and was there through to September 16th, 71. That was the first time I was confronted with overt racism. The administration and the police created situations to keep the black guys against the white guys against the Spanish guys, the Spanish guys against the black guys. And as long as they, created division, they were able to control the joint. It was just a volatile, repressive society. It remained a powder keg. It just so happened it took 71, September 9th to explode.
The Attica prison riot was not planned. That's not what happened. That's not how this happens, right? Egypt shows us this, right? Things are spontaneous, right? Because people cannot take it anymore. And something happens that sparks it. And what happened at Attica to spark it was silly, but based on racism.
I remember September the 8th, there was an incident in the yard about a football game, football practice.
Two of the members of the A Block football team, a white man and a black man, Ray Lamourie and Leroy Dewar, began to spar, right, as they were practicing for football. The guards saw this, they immediately assumed, right, that it was some kind of scene, and they tried to stop it.
That evening at lock-in, they went to the cells and drug some guys out and took them to the box. And the next morning, the place exploded. When it started, I was in the shower. I stepped out of the shower, and the world has changed. I see a guy driving down the hallway on a forklift. At the end of the hallway, there was a gate, and he put the tongues up underneath the gate and started pulling it up. By the mess hall, police was throwing tear gas canisters at this guy. And other inmates was picking them up and throwing them back at the police. When the gate came down, that's when he went. And I said, oh wow, it's a new world.